Hello and welcome to Tech Week in View on Megawatt TV, where each week we take the biggest stories, dissect them, eat them, spit them out and tell you what we think. Stay tuned. To put it politely, newspapers, well, they're in trouble, aren't they? I could say it another way, but you might be watching this before the watershed, so I'll refrain from using bad language. What's the problem? Well, it appears the internet, our best friend, your best friend, because clearly you're probably watching me on it right now, isn't too helpful to the newspapers controlling the news, to dominating the newsstand. Because guess what? The wonders of the internet, the ability to set up websites very quickly and easily, means that I can have a voice as much as a newspaper, and in fact steal their readers. Shock, the horror of it. So what's the solution? Well, rather than trying to make it a bit better and actually do a good job and realise that the internet is here to stay and therefore as good as a newspaper edition, the newspapers seem to be deciding that the best route of action is to blame, well, Google. Why? Well, because they steal their headlines in an attempt to try and link to you. All seems very strange, especially considering as it's very easy to turn Google off your website. All you have to do is open up a robot.txt file, yes, I know we're getting a bit technical all of a sudden, and just say, well, Google, I don't want you to come, so I'm going to disallow the search bots in finding me. Then all of a sudden, News Corp, Wall Street Journal, anybody who fancies it wouldn't have Google peering into their pages, wouldn't have them stealing their headlines. The downside is they wouldn't have Google therefore linking to them, allowing everybody to find their stories. It's strange. It's like me saying, I really like you, Mum, but I hate the fact that you gave birth to me. I just don't get it. And what's annoying is that the newspapers believe that they're in such a position that they can bully Google into believing it. Disappointing stuff. Of course, the best way for you to have your say is just to click on the news that you want to read. So this week iTunes went to a multi-level tiered payment system. What the hell does that mean? Well, basically it means from this week your iTunes singles are going to cost 59p, 79p or 99p. Now previously they were everything was 79p. So I'm just a bit confused. I'm a bit confused because I'm not sure why a track that I paid 79p for yesterday is now worth 99p or 59p. Why? Well, because it's the same digital download. They haven't had to produce anything. They haven't had to make loads more all of a sudden. I'm clicking on a button which accesses a file, which downloads to my computer, which I listen to. And it really is, I don't think it's Apple's fault. I think it's probably a concession they had to give away to allow everybody, to allow the entire store to be 100% DRM free. I think it's the record labels feeling they can still eke a bit more extra money out of us. It's clear that 59p tracks are going to be used for the ones that want to climb up the charts as quick as possible because, hey, they'll be a lot cheaper. It's also clear that once they realise they can get enough money out of it, then they'll probably slam the 99p track price on it. Now, okay, Stuart, you're saying, it's 20p. What difference does 20p make? Well, think of the amount of tracks that iTunes sells worldwide. And this is not just a UK thing. In America, they've gone from 79 to 99 to $1.29. All of a sudden, that extra 20p seems to make a massive amount of difference. And it's just frustrating because physically, nothing's changed. They haven't had to suddenly go, oh my God, we've run out of these, we need to go and re-edit it, remaster it, put it out again, and that's why we've had to add an extra bit of cost on. It's just the music men clearly, really clearly, not understanding the way that the music industry has moved on and forcing us to pay just for their greed. Picture the scene, it's Hollywood, it's a product press launch. You've managed to rope in a massive director of the latest movie that you've managed to place your product in. All very exciting until it all goes horribly wrong. And that's what happened this week with the wonderful Michael Bay, who's put his foot in it many a time before, and LG. It seems that he's not a fan of the LG handsets that they're promoting at the moment, even though they've probably paid him to turn up to an LG event to say LG are great. So what does he do? Halfway through a presentation, he whips out his Samsung phone, says, look at this, it's 40 bucks and it's great. Of course, you can imagine what happened next. The big cheese of LG Mobile in the US froze in horror, petrified of the thought that his evil nemesis, Samsung, had managed to get into his conference somehow and steal the show, steal his thunder, offered all that he could do, which was his mobile phone. Yes, his personal mobile phone, in an attempt to try and, well, get back some of the higher ground. Now, Michael Bay, you'd think, would probably suddenly go, oh my God, I've just made a cracking mistake. I'll take the man's phone and it'll all be okay. So what does he do? He turns around in true Michael Bay honesty and says, but how would I get my contacts on it? I've got them on my phone. I don't think I want your phone, sir. Disaster through and through. So it's no big news that the American car industry is in, well, big trouble. I like that word today, that's a good word. So what's the answer? Well, GM have teamed up with Segway. Remember those people that give the whoop, 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 funny two-wheel transport things? They've teamed up with them to create something called the Puma. Stands for personalization, blah, 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 motorized vehicle or something or other. That's irrelevant. Basically, what it is the electronic answer to, well, combating pollution, combating congestion, combating everything on the road. Think C5, the Sinclair, but a tiny bit bigger and a tiny bit more American. Goes 35 miles an hour, has a battery so you can recharge it, and 2 seats, so you and a friend can drive it too. It all sounds pretty groovy, and I'm sure we'll see the modern cosmopolitan Blade Runner-esque streets of the future surrounded with them. But when I saw this whizzing around in New York City, I couldn't just but help think that it was like, well, like those rickshaws that you see. The only problem being is you've lost the little man to cycle or talk to. And what does that mean? You might save congestion, you might save the environment, but unemployment levels for the rickshaw business are just going to go sky high. Well, that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Why don't you tune in next time for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more. I'm Stuart Miles. This is Megawatt TV. Thanks for watching.